The New York Times reports that in an Oval Office meeting last week, President Trump asked the chairman of the Joint Chiefs why they can't just immediately reopen the Strait of Hormuz. General Dan Kane's answer was that even one Iranian soldier or militia member could easily attack a slow-moving supertanker, something the president echoed again a little bit earlier today.
I said, we've already taken care of Iran, but now because of the fact that literally a single terrorist can put something in the water or shoot something or shoot a missile, a small missile, and it's fairly close range because it is a tight area, and which is one of the reasons they've always used that as a weapon. Iran has always used that as an economic weapon.
All right, joining us, retired four-star general and MS Now military analyst, General Barry McCaffrey. Given that, General, what can be done in the Strait?
Well, look, there's no question that from a tactical and operational point of view, the U.S. and Israeli air and naval forces have devastated Iran's conventional military capability. Struck 7,000 some odd targets, minimal losses, comparatively from what you would expect on an air campaign of this dimension. So it's been an incredible, successful event. The problem is Iran now has only three tools. Number one is to influence energy supplies, primarily through the straits by turning them off and by allowing Iranian oil to continue to flow to China. Then there's terrorism, then there's cyber warfare. So we're on the edge of a strategic disaster. There's no coalition there to support us. There's no expectation that we could sustain this kind of military effort for much longer than a few months. And at the end of the day, this desperation with no coalition allies to get others involved is going to fail. And by the way, who wants Chinese carrier battle groups in the Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea? So the Trump administration is incoherent in their approach to these problems.
All right, so game that out for me. Being on the edge of a strategic disaster, what does that mean?
Well, I think that General Kane, the chairman of JCS, who I might remind people has no command authority, has been very thoughtful and objective about the ability of the U.S. military to carry out these devastating attacks. But what you can't do is stop a ballistic missile, a small suicide boat, or mini submarines from attacking oil tankers in the Straits. So at some point, the economic impact is going to be simply unbearable for not just China, but also Japan, India, Western Europe. And by the way, as you know, the price of oil basically is global. It equalizes. So the fact we're energy independent does not help.
I know the president keeps trying to say that this is not our problem. We don't get oil from there. And largely we don't. The other countries around the world do. But when oil does, as you mentioned, increase in price, it increases everywhere. American oil producers are not going to lower their price just for domestic consumers when they see the price of oil around the world going up. It's a global market. Let me ask you about given what you just said, and if Iran has the relatively easy ability to keep the Strait closed, I guess, do we need to send in ground troops to try to, how do you deal with that if you want to continue the war?
Well, that's the option that no one in their right mind would consider, to take on a nation of 90 million people, a gigantic land area, ruled ruthlessly by the IRGC and the dictatorship of the Ayatollah. Who would, in his right mind, would take it on? We could do that. There's no question. We've still got 2.1 million men and women in the U.S. Armed Forces, and Iran's ability to resist a ground invasion, even a limited one, took on Karg Island or just tried to get a sanitary zone around the Straits, would be achievable, but it would come at an enormous cost. And I don't think the Trump administration is going to consider it. So they're stuck. They got to negotiate. They got to lift economic sanctions. They got to get inspectors back on the ground. The only objective we care about was their nuclear program, and that will remain untouched. We cannot go in with a commando raid and seize it. It takes several thousand troops on the ground, heavy machinery, multiple days. That's not going to happen either. So I think Trump didn't think through this thing very clearly, and now he's stuck.
Didn't get the allies involved either until he's demanding their help now. All right, General Barry McCaffrey. And by the way, they're saying no. General Barry McCaffrey, thank you so much, as always, for being with us.